Washington MarketWatch. President Donald Trump's legion of critics want it both ways. Steve Bannon was the source of Trump's worst ideas, they say, but his departure won't make any difference. Opponents' mythology around Mr. Bannon often held that he was the evil genius who pushed the president to make some of his more audacious decisions, the New York Times reported, adding that Bannon's critics believe his removal will pave the way for stability in the White House. But more likely, Mr. Bannon's exit will clarify that only one person, Mr. Trump, for better or worse, has always been his own chief strategist. It may well be that Trump will continue to hew to some of Bannon's signature issues: America first, economic nationalism, more balanced trade, concerns over China and Islam, but the harm wrought by Bannon in the White House was due as much to his tactics as to his strategy. It was Bannon's leaking, infighting, backstabbing and overweening arrogance, his guerrilla warfare in the West Wing, that did so much to destabilize Trump's presidency. It could be that his departure won't improve things for critics of Trump policy, but it has been clear for months that nothing constructive could come out of the White House as long as Bannon was there. The cartoonish view of the administration presented in the mainstream media is that it's a battle between globalists who want to preserve the post-war economic system as it has evolved and economic nationalists who want to correct some of the harmful effects of globalization on Americans. While Bannon was the most visible proponent of this nationalism, there are still plenty others in the administration who seek this shift of emphasis in U.S. policy: White House advisor Stephen Miller, U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, and National Trade Council Director Peter Navarro, among others. These are pitted in the press against globalists, led by Chief Economic Advisor Gary Cohn, his former Goldman Sachs colleague, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, and assorted power players ranging from Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump to Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Here, too, Trump critics want to have it both ways. On the one hand, Trump is a puppet so devoid of conviction and knowledge that he can be easily manipulated by whoever gets his ear, whether that is Cohn in the West Wing or Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow through a supposed web of intermediaries. This explains, these critics say, Trump's contradictory statements, flip-flops on policy, demonstrable lies and other failings that have come to characterize his presidency. On the other hand, they claim that these various failings are due solely to Trump himself because he is a liar, an ignoramus, a cheat, and a borderline nutcase plagued by numerous personality disorders. These are not necessarily mutually exclusive, nor are any of them new among residents of the White House. Only in this case, they have all been amplified to an uncomfortable degree. Presidents with personality disorders are part of history, whether it is the priapism of John Kennedy and Bill Clinton or the paranoia of Richard Nixon. Clinton was impeached and Nixon resigned under threat of impeachment. Given time, Trump may well get there. In the meantime, the divisions in the country certainly suggest that there is room for debate on many key economic issues. Trump's notions on trade and immigration may not be the right solutions, but he was able to recognize the problem in a way that resonated with more than 62 million voters. The actual policy emerging from that debate may not be pure in an ideological sense, but effective policy is always based on pragmatism and compromise. And this ultimately is the main reason the White House is well rid of Bannon. The former chief strategist is fiercely ideological, unwilling to compromise and hopelessly idealistic in the sense that he is willing to burn everything to the ground in pursuit of his vision. There's no place for that kind of person in policymaking, whether his name is Steve Bannon or Paul Ryan or Ted Cruz. Let Bannon wage the war he is promising from the platform of Breitbart News. Join the crowd. Many people have already tried and convicted Trump for what they see as his moral failings, and they are only waiting for the execution to be carried out. For others, the jury is still out. In the meantime, it might be more useful, and certainly more hopeful, to view the internal strife in the administration less as a battle between two ideologies and more as a fight between level-headed pragmatists and incurable ideologues. In that sense, the ejection of the most incurable ideologue is a victory for all of us, even if it is no guarantee that the administration will now keep to a steadier course.